Hello, everyone. It's Nick from Claret and Booze. Right, a very quick update. I'm going to make this because I'm about to go out. I've spoken to, obviously, we've heard all the news about David Moyes, Jack Rosser from The Sun and Sky Sports and everyone else are reporting that David Moyes is about to sign a new contract. Jack Rosser's saying 2.5 years or something like that. But so it's prompted me to speak to a few people. So I have spoken to Sean Whetstone. So the official line from the club. We'll give you that first. So the official line from the club is this. This is from Sean Whetstone. Sean Whetstone has tweeted that David Moyes is 100% going to be signing a contract. That's not the case. Apparently, they are 100% going to have contract talks. So the West Ham board spoke to David Moyes. This is coming from Sean. I spoke to David Moyes earlier this week when news broke that David Moyes was considering retiring or leaving West Ham. And they asked him if this was true. And he basically turned around and said, no, that's not true. I'm very happy at West Ham and I want to stay. My work here is not done. So they said, okay, we'll sit down in January and we will talk about a new deal. That's what they've said. So that's what's going to be happening. That was apparently always the plan anyway. They was always going to sit down and talk to David Moyes about a new contract. Now, whether or not David Moyes accepts this deal is completely is another thing because there's loads of different things. So the term hasn't been discussed between David Moyes or Sullivan. So where the 2.5 years has come from, nobody knows. Obviously, Jack Ross has got his own contacts with the board, so maybe he's been told something different. But the fact of the matter is, David Moyes is going to... we know that he likes full control. And the fact of the matter is, we do have Tim Steidten now. And David Moyes is going to be offered a contract which might not be to his taste. It's obviously going to be along the lines of you're going to be a coach, you're going to be the manager. You're not going to be in control of any transfers. You know, it's worked so far if you look at the work that Tim has just done. So it's whether or not that David Moyes will sign up for that. Now, the thought is that he will because he's very keen on staying because he doesn't feel like he can go and get a better job anywhere else and he feels like he's mid-project. He wants to stay here. The other thing as well, the other spanner in the works for David Moyes is going to be that now with the entrance of Tim Steidten, the contracts that David Moyes gets offered will be, if he gets offered one, will be very, very different. So they've got terms, they've got length of contracts, they've got responsibilities that they've got to agree. Will he sign up for not having full control, which is going to be the case? Otherwise, we're going to lose Tim Steidten. Tim Steidten ain't going to hang around for another 2.5 years, 3 years. If they remove the responsibilities from Tim Steidten and give them all back to David Moyes, there's no point in having Tim Steidten. So that isn't going to happen. So there's responsibilities, and then there are these new things called KPIs, which West Ham have never done before. So this is kind of very common in the German game, and what that enables clubs to do is terminate contracts with minimal financial penalties if managers don't meet a certain criteria. So you embed within a contract things, key performance indicators. So if David Moyes isn't meeting certain aspects, whatever targets they set him, they can basically sack him. It's as simple as that. So it's whether or not David Moyes, and that's to little expense to West Ham. It isn't a case that they would have to pay him off for the rest of his contract like they would at the moment because he's got a standard contract. This wouldn't be a standard contract. It would be riddled with caveats and like I say, protecting West Ham and protecting him, because the worry would be for West Ham and for Sullivan is that if the second part of this season was the polar opposite of the first part and it went to shit and we started losing everything and all the players started getting disgruntled and fans were pissed off, and all of a sudden we've got David Moyes on a 3-year contract going into next season, Sullivan's got to try and sell season tickets. So they're going to have to add some sort of insurance policy to themselves for that to happen. So that is the official line. So it's nowhere near done. It's nowhere near done. Are they going to talk to him about a new contract? Apparently so. Apparently they are. This is the official line. Is he going to sign it? Your guess is as good as mine. You know, it depends how desperately David Moyes wants to stay at West Ham, I suppose, because he's not going to have anywhere near the level of control and security that he had with his last contract. There isn't going to be any security. It's performance-based. So irrespective of the length of that contract, if he isn't performing, they can get rid. the next thing, I spoke to my other source as well in relation to whether or not there are, the manager that's lined up for the end of the year, and apparently that is still the case. Obviously, nothing's signed, nothing can be signed. You can't sign anything while a manager is still in charge at another club. But that is still very much on the table. I asked him if he kind of disputed that this was the case. Will they sit down with David Moyes? And apparently, according to him, that was probably always going to be the case. Part of the process was that they were going to sit down with David Moyes. But they were of the opinion that he would never sign up to these new terms and new conditions, and he wouldn't be the type of guy that would work in this new environment. Whether David Moyes has changed tact, whether he has all of a sudden kind of decided that he can work with Tim Schneider now, and those two they've got a great working relationship. We don't know, but the fact is, we do have managers lined up for the summer, and they are going to be talking to David Moyes about renewing his contract. But I suppose they're doing succession planning. They probably didn't expect David Moyes to break the Premier League record in the first 19 games for West Ham in terms of points haul. I mean, we've gone and we've beaten almost everyone. The performances have not been great. We know that, but they don't care. They're the chairman. They look at the points haul. They look at we're in the last 16 in Europe. They look at the facts. We've beat Arsenal. We've beat Chelsea. We've beat Tottenham. We've beat Man United. We've beat Brighton. They look at that. So I still think it's mad. My personal opinion is I don't think we're at any risk whatsoever of losing David Moyes to another club if you left it till the end of the season. He's not going to go to a bigger club than West Ham. No one can convince me that would be the case. So why they would take a risk on giving David Moyes a contract now, I don't know. You would just leave it till the end of the season, like they did last time. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what they do. Apparently, if you listen to the main news outlets and if you listen to some of the tweets, it's a done deal. He's going to be signing tomorrow, or in the new year, whatever. But we will have to wait and see. Like I said, I don't think. I still don't think it will happen. If it happens now, there's not really anything anyone can do about it. There ain't. Still wouldn't be my choice. It wouldn't be my choice. I would prefer that we moved on in the summer with a better manager, but it would have to be someone better, obviously, because he is doing a good job. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Obviously, look, you can't deny that he hasn't earned it. Certainly this season, he won us a cup, and then he's broken our Premier League points record after losing his best player, Declan Rice. So when you look at it on paper, he's done amazingly well. And this, like I say, that's how the board will look at it when they appraise him. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But that is it. Will David Moyes sign up to a contract where, like I say, he doesn't have the same security, where he does have to meet certain key performance indicators, where he doesn't have responsibility of transfers, and he is more of a head coach? Will he sign up for that? We'll have to wait and see. Or is David Sullivan going to go completely and utterly against everything that he set out against this project and go, we don't need Tim, we're just going to stick with Dave. Dave, you can have full control. 5-year contract, bosh, off you go. Tim, sorry, mate, we don't need you. Who knows? Sullivan's a weird little bloke. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, it's never a dull moment. It's like when we won in Prague. When we won in Prague, and then Sullivan came out the next day and said Declan Rice is leaving. It's a bit like that. But look, nothing's going to ruin my mood. We're in 6th place. We just beat Arsenal. Absolutely brilliant. And like I say, I can't argue against them offering him a new contract. Not really. You can't. But yeah, it is what it is. We'll have to see what happens. All right. I'll speak to you soon. Come on, you ones.